No amount of healthy eating or targeted exercise can change the fact that the physical body has a definitive expiration date. Eventually, every biological system breaks down. But when the body turns to dust, the question remains: what happens to the continuous feeling of I? Where does the consciousness go? Try a mental experiment. Attempt to actively imagine what it feels like to be completely dead. Try to experience absolute zero. You'll find you can't do it. To experience nothingness, an observer must be present to witness it. Human consciousness cannot process its own absence. To find an answer, we have to look past 4,200 religious interpretations and consult the only group with first-hand experience, people who have clinically died and returned. Near-death experiences, or NDEs, are rare, literal manifestations of this paradox. They give a window into what the experiencing self does at the boundary of life and death. Consider the case of a college student who suffered a fatal overdose. He was declared clinically dead while being transported in an ambulance. During those minutes, the student reported that his consciousness detached from his body. He watched the resuscitation efforts from the ceiling of the vehicle. Skeptics often argue this is simply a hallucination, a dying brain firing off random signals as it shuts down. However, the student was later able to recite verbatim conversations the doctors had during the time his heart was stopped. He also recalled the exact physical turns the ambulance made, matching the route taken while he was unconscious. Because the student collected verifiable data while his brain activity was paused, it suggests the I can operate independently of the biological machine. Other survivors describe environments that have no connection to the physical world. In 2011, a surgery patient flatlined and entered a different state entirely. He described an infinite void of absolute emptiness. No light, no sound, just space. This ties back to our initial paradox. Even though he was surrounded by nothingness, his awareness was still present and active enough to perceive the vacuum. Similar reports from around the world describe travelers moving through a tunnel toward this threshold. Some survivors describe perceiving time not as a flow, but as a tangible object that can be observed from the outside. Whether the perspective is from an ambulance ceiling or a void where time has a physical shape, the observer remains a constant factor. The visual details of these experiences are often bizarre and defy the logic of our daily lives. But if you remove the tunnels and the voids, you are left with the persistence of the conscious observer. The boundary we call death appears to be a barrier for the physical body, but the evidence from these cases shows the mind continuing past that point. Dying, in this context, is not a fade to black. It is a shift in the state of consciousness from one framework to another. The continuous I that is currently processing these words and feeling alive appears to maintain its presence even when the